So our first graph, we notice that it's x squared over x. So there could either be asymptotes or there could be holes. So for this first one, when we factor it, the top factors to x plus 5, x minus 5. We have an x plus 5 on the bottom, so we know that there's going to be a hole when x equals negative 5. After it simplifies, we just get the equation y equals x minus 5. So as far as graphing this goes, we can graph that line. It has a y-intercept of negative 5 and a slope of 1, but we need to, on our graph, go to negative 5 and put in a hole. And if we plug in negative 5 into this, negative 5 minus 5, we know that that hole is going to happen at negative 5, negative 10. For the second graph, if we were looking at this, if you look at the top, you can factor out a 2. That'll leave you with x plus 1 over x minus 2. This one, nothing cancels out. We'll have no holes. You still have a non-permissible value at x equals 2. So right now, that becomes a vertical asymptote. As far as horizontal asymptotes go, if you look at the highest degree, which is the x, you have 4 x's on the top and 1 x on the bottom. That's going to be a 4. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, y equals 4, you will have your second asymptote. As far as what this graph is going to look like, you can plug in some values. What happens if we do a little table of values, and I choose something on the left side of my vertical asymptote, and I choose a value on the right side of my vertical asymptote. For example, if I choose x equals 1, what's going to happen? Well, plug 1 in, you're going to get on the top 6, on the bottom negative 1. So I have the point 1, negative 6. As far as my graph, now that I know that point's in there, I'm going to estimate that this is going to be my value up here. Another key point that you can find is your x-intercept. As far as a fraction goes, the only way a fraction's equal to 0, because you want to find out an x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So in other words, this fraction, 4x plus 2 over x minus 2, has to equal 0. The only place a fraction is equal to 0 is if your numerator is equal to 0. Solving that equation will get you negative 1/2 comma 0 as your x-intercept. So that's another point that you could have if you wanted to graph this. I know that the question is just saying predict where it has asymptotes or holes, but we may as well practice graphing these because that's what we're going to be asked to do in the end anyways. Okay? If I try something on the other side of my vertical asymptote, like a 3, plugging 3 in, I'm going to get 14 on the top over 1. So I have 3 comma 14. I'm going to estimate that to be about there. And this part of my graph, if I draw it towards the asymptotes, is going to look like this. Oops. Questions you can do for this one, for just predicting, are number 5.